Hello everyone, let's talk about it. Homeschooling. Would I do it again? Am I still doing it? What worked? What didn't work? I'm a Ricky homeschool mom. I've only done it for 1 year. I did it for 3 kids. My daughter who was a 6th grader and my boy-girl twins who were in 7th grade. Many reasons why I did it. I still do think it was a good choice for that year particularly. I have a whole nother video on why I did it and all the details of all the drama and disrespectful and inappropriate. If you are a mama who's thinking of homeschooling and weighing the different options and want to know if it's right for your child or not, we're going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about what worked, what didn't work, what I regret, what I think, I would stick to. And that being said, I will not be homeschooling some, if not all of my kids going into this next school year, if I can help it. I made a lot of mistakes. First big mistake that I made was I added too much to their plate at once because we homeschooled through Mia Academy and I really do genuinely like the program. I got really excited and I thought because they're home, they'll be in a less pressured environment, they'll have more time to maybe do some more classes. So I decided to assign them brushing up things from the previous grade and I don't think that helped. I should have just stuck with the core classes and maybe added an elective or 2. I regret adding too much on because they spent so much time on brushing up classes that by the time that they were supposed to be at a certain point with their core classes, they weren't there. And that's where it became stressful and they had to work ahead and double up to get things done. That was my bad. My kids, or let me say some of my kids, think homeschooling is a free-for-all. They're like, oh, well, I don't have to do this, I don't have to do that, and that didn't quite work. So how Mia Academy and many other homeschool platforms are designed is they break it up, their assignments, every single day depending on what date you want to finish. I put the ending date the same date as my little kids who go to public school. I tried to film this video while these kids were sleeping, but they woke up and, it is what it is. Do you Rebel? He's saying good morning to you. He's saying good morning to you.
Good morning.
You want to go play? Go run around for a little bit? I do have some of those kids that wanted to take advantage and thought that if they didn't do certain work on certain days that they didn't have to do it the next day. It just piled up and it was not a good thing. So if I were talking to another homeschool mom, I would say, is this going to work for you and your child? I would see if you have a child that is going to do what they're supposed to do, okay? I have a friend whose daughters, they just get up, they do it, they do everything and entirely, there's no fuss about it. I just happen to not have those type of kids. I have kids that would rather do other things and just want to get away with not doing things. So you have that type of kid, you need to be that type of parent who's going to sit there and hold them accountable, okay? I'm not that type of parent. I've got 1.5 million things going throughout the day. Halfway through the year, we are kind of in this panic mode where we are only 25% done when we should have been at least 50 to 60% done. I had to go in and physically unassign some things, some extra things, so that it would reassign more of the core things every single day. So we had to play a little bit of catch up. They did not finish on time. They finished about 3 weeks later than I expected them to finish because of these mess ups. I wasn't able to check in with them to make sure that everything was done. It was kind of like, okay, you need to be done with school by 12 o'clock today because you've got training, we've got this, we've got that. I've got 6 kids, 5 are heavily involved in sports. That just didn't work. Number 2, yes, I should have known, but I knew about halfway through and Mama got on board and held them accountable. The kids were new to homeschooling and knew I was new to homeschooling, so they thought they could get away with not finishing everything every single day, and they didn't know that it would bite them in the butt later. Things that I would have done differently. That doesn't mean that I would not homeschool my little kids in the future, or maybe one of my children. My 6th grader did really well. She made some mistakes in the beginning, but as soon as I let her know, hey, you have to finish everything, she was able to readjust and get things done pretty quickly. So is it for you? Is it not for you? It just really depends on how much time you have to dedicate to making sure everything is done on time, and then how responsible your child is. So that being said, I am trying to get my kids into a charter school. We are on the wait list. I will find out in the next 2 to 3 weeks or so. I'm not sure. If they do not get in, I will for sure homeschool one of them, but the other 2, I'm gonna need to find somewhere for them, okay? Because they're not going back to public school and I'm not homeschooling them. So we're gonna have to figure that out. I really tried to keep the homeschoolers at the kitchen table because the heart of the house is the kitchen. I'm always in and out of the kitchen doing things. I thought that would be a good place for me to be able to pop in easy. I did also get desks for their rooms because I had high hopes of like them having their own little workstations. That didn't work, okay? Because, you know, they're on Chromebooks, and Chromebooks have YouTube, and Chromebooks have Google, and they have all that stuff, so they need a little bit more supervision, okay? How many times have I said, get off of YouTube before I figured out that I could block YouTube? I wasn't that type of like rigid homeschool mom where they had to be up at 7, be dressed and ready and teeth brushed by 7:30, have breakfast and get ready and be done by 8 and sit down sit down at your desk and get to work by 8. I wasn't like that. I didn't want to be like that, but I also didn't want them to like wake up at 11 or 12 o'clock and then be lazy and come down and not have their room cleaned or teeth brushed and start their work. I was just kind of like in the middle. I just wanted them to be up, dressed, ready, chores done, and be ready to go by 9 o'clock. I thought that was pretty doable for our family lifestyle because we're not the type of people that sleep in a very long time. So they're usually up around like 8. So I wanted them to have a slow morning, to be able to make their bed, brush their teeth, wash their face, come down, do their chore, okay? I always have them do their chore, which is something small, whether it be take out the garbage, unload the dishwasher, and then have breakfast and be able to sit down by like 9:15. I wasn't too strict to start their work. Now, in the beginning, I want them to work for at least like an hour, hour and a half to get a majority, like the chunk of the work done first. With homeschooling, there's flexibility. They can do whatever they want. They can bounce around and do whatever class they want. But I encourage them to do the hardest class first because once they get that out of the way, they can easily tackle the rest of the subjects faster if they have the first one done. So with homeschooling, you really try to teach your kids responsibility. You give them some advice and you kind of hope that their brain calculates that and takes your advice and does certain things first. It's all about study habits. They'll learn as they get older. And I think with homeschooling, you kind of learn what works for you earlier on. So like I said, I don't regret homeschooling. I just wish I knew some of these things ahead of time. So I hope this helps any rookie or soon to be a rookie homeschool moms kind of figure out, is this really right for you? Is this right for your child, the type of child they are, if they're responsible, if they really try to, get away with stuff, are you going to be able to check in with them? Do you think that, this is really going to work for you? And now you know ahead of time. Don't give them too much. Make sure you do the core things first before you add anything else onto their plate, and also keep them accountable. Make sure you check in every day. Don't give them the benefit of the doubt that they're doing everything. Just make sure that they complete everything every day and make sure that they know that they're responsible to complete everything every day. Otherwise, the consequence is going more into your summer break. Okay, let me know if you guys have any questions down below. I'd be happy to answer them. Like I said, I'm just a rookie, but we did just have like a pretty rough homeschooling year. So, or if you have any advice for homeschoolers or people thinking of homeschooling or families looking to homeschool, put it down below. All right, we're gonna move on throughout the day. I'm gonna film a day in the life. I got another video up my sleeve that I'm gonna be filming a little bit later on, so let's get to it. Have a good day, guys.